and Synergies. To start this panel, once again, please welcome Commodity Editor, Zee Business India, Mrituenjay. And very quickly, I'd also introduce the panel members from SD Guthrie International Trading Malaysia, Sandeep, Bhan. NK Proteins, from NK Proteins, and also the Vice President, IVPA India, Bhavna, Shah. And completing the panel, from Pyramid Wilmar, Sri Lanka, Thanveer, Siddique. Also, a big round of applause for the only person applauding them all. Come on, guys and gals, thank you. Mrituenjay ji, this is your panel, and your time will start. Thank you.
Thank you once again. So we have very small panel, but weightage is double. So you can count 6, not 3. So this panel is on edible oil. What is the trade dynamics and what is happening in the industry actually? So my first question is, Sandeep Bhan is here, CEO SD Guthrie Trading International. Okay, sorry. So please. So Bhavna has some presentation, and after that we will start panel discussion.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. So like Mr. Shah said, it's a small panel, but we bring a lot of impact and value. I also represent IVPA, and I have been given this responsibility to set the context, as IVPA is a supporting association for BASF today, and we'd like to share the Indian story. Wonderful. So, you see, we talk about, seeing the previous session also on sugar. We talk about policies, we talk about production, we talk about demand, supply. But today what's very, very important is Russia is increasing their export duties. If you see, Argentina is increasing their biodiesel, biofuel mandate. Indonesia, Malaysia, in fact, Indonesia is going towards B40. And Trump, a huge big impact, which is going to, the world has to suffer soon. And on the other hand, what we saw last year was India increased their import duties to support the soybean farmers. But what happened was that far from the soybean prices reaching the MSP, in fact, what became the fundamentals didn't support. Today, palm, which was one of the cheapest oil, who could imagine in 40 years, it's the all-time high. In fact, a premium oil today, and I'm sure Mr. Bhan is smiling over there. So therefore, there's a very important, crucial factor which we often overlook is the FTAs. So currently, because of India's increase in import duty, what has suddenly happened is imports from SAAFTA countries have become very, very viable and distorting our Indian markets. So given this scenario, it's very important to understand the context of FTAs and the importance of the role that FTAs are playing in the whole gamut. So some of the key free trade agreements that are impacting the Indian Vegoils scenario. Now I remember in my previous role when I joined MPOC, at one point in time, import duties for palm oil were as high, the ceiling rate was as high as 300%. And for soybean, for soft oils, it was about 45%. So imagine this kind of disparity. So of course, it has been revised and we have far more level playing field. Then second, what we saw was, maybe Mr. Thanveer can further enlighten us after that, but we also had a lot of imports of vanaspati coming from Sri Lanka. Then we have another important factor called ASEAN. And certain countries, besides the free trade agreement, they also have a more leverage, that is being the LDCs, the least developed countries. So this gives them far more advantage in some way. So these are the challenges that India is facing, but these challenges can be also opportunities, like right now Sri Lanka. Some friends in Sri Lanka are very happy with this development. So I think import policies also need to consider the far larger ramifications caused by free trade agreement. no matter how many other factors they may try to work out for their business dynamics, how much they try their risk management. But if the import barriers are aligned in a way, it's going to distort their entire business. So given that context, currently what we have is SAFTA, MySECA, ASEAN and Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement. There is one with UAE also, but it does not have much impact at this rate, not currently. So these are the various different free trade agreements playing at different levels depending upon the Indian import duties. So very often we say that, the government must consider this. Now, what is happening is everyone is a pandit. Everyone is giving a kind of gyan or knowledge to government that this is not right policy, this is not the right thing. But in a vast democracy like India, it's very, very easy to keep, discussing and deliberating, but it's a very delicate balancing act. If you try to look after farmers, then it's not viable for industry. If you look after industry, then consumer is impacted. So what is the right balance? And we at IVPA, we strongly believe there is no static balance. It keeps changing, it should keep changing. And for that, we are strongly advocating for a dynamic duty slab system. Because it has to keep changing with all the various fundamentals and export duties of various countries. Because these implications are going to be far too large on our industry. At today's current rate, what we are seeing is half of the industry has become like packers. The refineries are not able to process them because of inverted duty structure. And on the other hand, palm prices are through the roof and people are not able to buy palm. So these are the various different fundamentals playing around. And we keep talking about globalization. Yes, globalization is the need of the hour. But sometimes in developing nations like India's, it also brings about a lot of new challenges. That how do we at one point in time promote our own industry, and at the same time, how do we ensure we are competitive and maintain good trade relations with our neighbors? Now, if you see each country today, Indonesia is going more and more towards higher biodiesel mandates to take care of their huge oil production, palm oil production. All various countries are coming up with protectionist policies. Now, what should India's stand be at this point in time? So, globalization, localization, or then do we call it glocalization? So, these are not very easy solutions. Benefits are tremendous when you work towards free trade agreements and you work with partner countries. The economies of scale, the pricing of the products, but at the same time, it brings a huge bunch of challenges too. The magnitude is far more higher and the ramifications are way too large. So we'll go much deeper into price outlook when the two experts talk about it. But just very roughly, that what we see this year is the demand. We see a lot of destruction this year, and we as IVPA do not see much incremental imports next year, 24-25. So we are seeing more like a neutral trend. And I think our imports will remain somewhere in the range of 16 million metric tons consequent to prices. Let me put the disclaimer. Now, we all have heard about India's shining story, and that's happening with all the neighboring countries, all the fast-growing developing nations. So here, that's not what I'm trying to say. We see more disposable income, population increase, and all of that. But how these dynamics are changing the Indian thali. The thali was roti, chapati, sabji, pulses, lentil, etc. But with these prices are very, very important dominant factor which is changing the whole composition of our thali. At one point in time, we never thought of samosas being fried in soybean oil. But today we are hearing that due to high palm prices, the samosas in the office meetings are not tasting the same. So yes, palm has its core value, and despite prices, the core demand will not go away. The incremental may keep changing, but the core demand stays there. Now, I have realized one thing. It's very, very challenging and difficult to do price forecasting or demand forecasting, production forecasting for short term. So I'm going to I'm not going to be very bold and challenging. I'm going to go for a long-term vision. Now, if you see this slide, this is very, very important. See, today we are the largest importers of veg oils, and our consumption is just little behind China's. Now here, if you see a per capita consumption, we worked out a sensitivity analysis for 5 years. So at this rate, if you see in 2023, a per capita consumption of 17.5 kgs, India's total consumption was 24.5 million metric tons. Now, if this per capita consumption slightly increases, we reach to what level? And in 2023, we have a population increase of 1.4 million people. Like we say, we produce one Australia every year. So if we just forget the incremental demand, if you just look at the population increase every year, we see somewhere the prices, you can take moderate, you can take medium, and you can take very high increase. We have played different scenarios over here. But to be a very realistic figure, India's per capita consumption is not going to remain static for long. So with current levels of 17.5 kgs, with economic growth, this is expected to grow about 20 kgs by 2029. And at this level, the total requirement for veg oil should touch about 30 million metric tons by 2029. So this sensitivity analysis also shows what the total requirement would be at different levels of population and different per capita consumption. And now you can see why Government of India is so worried about India's edible oil security. If you go by these statistics and imagine 29.5 million metric tons if needed by 2029, where will we get all that more oil from? And therefore, government has come up with 2 strategic initiatives. One, National Mission on Oil Palm, which was launched in 2021 August. And very recently, just last year, they have launched the National Mission on Edible Oils. Now, both these are very detailedly available on the website, but broadly, government is giving out a lot of benefits in terms of fertilizers, coming out with e-portal to help the farmers. In fact, focusing on Northeast India. So there are a lot of lessons from here, and government has picked up with detailed study. So these are 2 big initiatives government is banking on to help reduce the big gap that we have between demand and supply. But does that make us truly Atmanirbhar is going to be a very big question. So here I've tried to present a whole scenario of Indian veg oils complex. But the big question is, there is no one single truth. We may say this, we may say that. We talk about farmers, we talk about consumers. Sometimes we talk about industry, we talk about Atmanirbhar. The more we are going forward, more we are still back there where we started from. So still I believe there is no one truth, there's no single truth. You have to decide what is right at what point in time. And FTAs, when they are drafting FTAs, currently ASEAN FTA is under review, and as IVPA we have been giving a lot of inputs for the same. So FTAs should be drawn with extreme care, with guardrails. Because one mistake...
For me was, our palm oil finally getting into the league of most expensive oil? Of course, not about soybean oil, not about coconut oil. We generally factor in soybean oil, sunflower oil, and palm oil, which are the highly liquid oils. So palm oil stayed CPO was 150, it went up to $180 above soybean oil.
The tag of cheap oil has been removed.
Tag of cheap oil is now gone. It's now the most expensive oil. Of course, in the last few days, it has now the premium over soybean oil, which was close to $170 to $180 from CNF India basis, is gone now. We are now trading, in fact, back to the $5 to $10 discount against soybean oil. But at least on a sustained basis, it happened for a few days in the first quarter of the 2024, but last quarter showed that palm can be a premium oil. Palm did go into premium. To me, the drop in last few days was also because being such a high premium, world was not ready to absorb such a expensive oil, for which they used to pay $100, $150 lower than soybean oil, and now they have to pay $150 above soybean oil. So that shift will take some time now. World got a signal that palm oil can be a premium oil, and palm oil will become a premium oil again. It's a time for industries globally to start thinking palm as an expensive oil and how to shift from the mindset of no more a cheap oil and getting it into a premium league of oils.
So this is the reason some big FMCG companies are, denying the use of palm oil. This is the reason you see.
They see that palm is now becoming expensive, they will have to come back because their consumer will ask.
But they are giving excuse of for health. This is
Like
not
Bhavna
health.
explained, it's a healthy oil. There is no. She explained it perfectly. I don't have to explain it any further. She answered it.
Okay, so Thanveer, just tell us, do you think the global supply situation will tighten due to the biodiesel mandate? Do you think the global edible oil market situation will be tightened?
Like Banji said, the thing is, Indonesia started with B10, then B20, then came B25. But there has been tightening and there is this mandate is taking effect, right? Obviously, if they go to B40, Banji is already smiling, this palm oil market is going to be even more on fire. So I think but Indonesia is a large producer, large consumer, so a lot will depend around countries like India and Indonesia.
But what Indonesia's biodiesel mandate means for Sri Lanka?
I think Sri Lanka is not buying palm oil anymore, right? Unless, of course, the duty difference which I mentioned previously, the price gap of palm oil and coconut oil comes to about $400. If the gap comes to about $400, then Sri Lanka will obviously become a importer of palm oil in the world market again. But until such time happens, whether it's B40 or B50, I don't think Sri Lanka will be an importer of palm oil. Unless, of course, the B40 drives the price up and we only have a $200-300 difference between palm and lauric.
If you get cheap oil, then you will buy?
Sorry?
If you get cheap palm oil, then you buy? No.
I am a trader. Whatever I will get cheap, I will buy.
Just I want to know, okay, what is the global edible oil market behaving right now?
Sorry? Global?
How global oil market is behaving right now?
I think Bhanji will be able to answer that question better than me because I'm more of a local guy than an international person. So Bhanji, I'll leave that question to you.
Overall oil market, how overall oil market you see in next 3 to 6 months?
Next 3 to 6 months, of course, palm oil this quarter, first quarter, is a seasonal drop of production. But March, April onwards, we should see the pickup in Malaysia and Indonesia in terms of palm oil. So supply will slowly start growing. And demand-wise, we have to see we lost a lot of demand because of the price premium of palm, and we should see now palm going lower than soybean oil demand back. So in terms of supplies, there's not going to be any issue.
So I can say global oil market will be well supplied in 3 to 6 months?
Global oil market is well supplied. There is good crop of soybean. There is good soybean oil in the availability. Palm will start getting available in the month of March, if not March, April onwards. So we should see pickup in the oils.
Okay. So now, Bhavna, I want to ask one very important question. Indian government has increased import duty, 20% in import duty on edible oil to support the soya farmers. Prices has gone up drastically, but farmers have not, get good price. So do you think in this budget, government will think to reduce the import duty?
See, I cannot really understand their thought process because if I would know that, then we would have been the #1 company. But honestly, they are concerned. In the capacity of IVPA, we have been having a lot of interaction with the government. We have also shared our recommendations to the government. One important thing, they are very concerned about the farmers and they are very concerned about the tight supplies that we hear about Malaysia, Indonesia. They are
What's your
watching
take
that.
on import duty? Do you think import duty should come down?
I think that's the best solution because with WTO there are
Best solution for whom? Farmers,
for India,
consumers?
overall India, everyone. See, farmer is also a consumer. We keep forgetting that, but farmer is also a consumer. Let's not forget that at the end of the day. And when we keep talking about farmers should get a good price, then the consumer inflation will increase.
So how much duty should be reduced according to you?
See, currently, when the duties were increased to this huge whopping 20%, at that time our recommendation was, or as per the slab system, it should have been about 8 to 10%. Had it been on that levels, it wouldn't have been causing so much of shocks and alarms. And secondly, what happens is when we say farmers should get a good price and then the prices go up, their input material prices will also increase.
Then why industries were lobbying for a duty hike?
No, we are not saying duty hike. At that point in time, currently our
At
only...
that time it was right.
Yeah,
duty
that time
hike?
was right. See, what we are proposing is a dynamic slab system with the international prices. It should be in tandem with that. We coexist. We are not living in our own silo.
But how farmers will get better price?
See, farmers, then we can't complain about inflation. Then, if the farmer, currently that is what has happened, farmer is not able to get good price.
No, do you think 4,400 rupees per quintal soya price is fair price? Do you
No,
think?
no, no, I don't agree with that. My only point is right now we are recommending a differential should be there between crude and soya. That's the only thing that we are trying to tell, that increase the differential between the two.
Sunil ji is here, additional MD of NAFED.
Yeah.
He can give us some more insights on soya price. What is the relation between the duty and the farmer price? If you can give us some insights, sir. Please give him mic. Question is, after duty increase, farmers should not be benefited.
After duty increase, farmers should not be benefited.
No, farmers, yes.
No, but again, if there is a duty increase, so naturally the prices of domestic oil should go up.
But the seed price has not gone up.
See, the point is seed prices are not directly connected only with the edible oil price. Here in the case of soya oil, you have 82% DOC, which comes into the play. 18% is only the oil. So unless the realization from DOC goes up, the ultimate realization from the seed would not match that level.
Sir, what is the solution? How farmers will get better price? What is the solution?
So solution has to be two-pronged. You have to work on the DOC as well as on the edible oil prices. What is happening right now, 4,892 rupees is your MSP price. The general market rate of the soybean, which is being accepted by the plants, it is in the range of 4,500 rupees. Despite the increase that has been mentioned that recently because of the increase in the edible oil prices, the prices of soya in the domestic prices have gone up. Still, the market is 400 rupees lesser to the MSP. Right now, Government of India has purchased roughly I would say 13 lakh metric tons of soybean, but it is not stabilizing the market. So it has to be two-pronged. Well, again, if you ask me my personal question, there has to be some incentive on the export of the DOC.
So do you think some incentive should be given for DOC export? Do you think, sir?
That's my personal view, to stabilize the prices right now when the farmers produce is coming to the market. After that, you can have a review. But right now, if you want the prices, the domestic prices to touch the MSP level, along with the government's intervention, that's the only solution.
Okay. Sandeep,
That's
you want
my
to add
personal
something?
take.
Yes. You want to add something? How farmers will get better price?
No, before that, I can
We have done lots of
whether
debate on that, but
No.
no conclusion.
What I can say is on the duty one, you increase duty, prices go up. You decrease duty, prices go up.
Yes.
When they increased 20% duty, international markets went up by 35%. So now if industry asks, please reduce duty, we'll be back to higher side.
So what should be the formula
See,
for
some
the better
risk-
management between consumer and farmers?
For me, it's always farmer first. You have to protect the farmer. Industry has to look at the brighter side of this, that farmers have to be protected. There's no second thought about it. Industry has the resources, industry has the talent, industry has the financial power, industry has the risk management, industry has everything. But industry has to step in to save the farmers. If farmers are not getting due for what they produce, how will industry survive? And then industry goes to the government, please help us. While as farmers should get the help.
But their all demands on behalf of farmers. They were pushing for duty hike for the farmers.
But that didn't materialize.
They were pushing for duty hike
Yeah.
only for the farmers.
I don't know whether it was really for farmers, but then prices should have gone up. So industry has to do something. I don't think farmer can provide a solution. Industry has to provide a solution.
Exactly, exactly. So Thanveer,
Mrituenjay ji, just one point.
yes sir.
Just recall this situation about 2 years back. You had a clamor of importing soya DOC because the industry wanted, the poultry feed industry and the animal feed industry, they were running short of the DOC. It was a situation of reverse. The soya prices were running too high. So just analyze both the situation when the soya prices are at their lowest, and there was a situation when it was a high, and the common factor was DOC.
So what should be the fair price of soybean, sir? What should be the fair price?
Well, for that matter, you need to go to CACP for that.
Okay.
We actually solved a lot of problem for India in the last couple of months. That was because India would always say India is a dumping ground for Malaysia and Indonesia.
Right.
So last few months, palm oil became off the shelf. Imports dropped sharply. In fact, in the month of December, palm oil imports into India dropped by 40%. So there was no such saying in the last couple of months that India is a dumping ground.
Dumping ground.
So it became all now up to Indian industry. Okay, no dumping. Then what are the next available options? Are all local oils? How do you grow those local oils? How do you give the compensation to the farmer to increase their productivity? So because palm is heading towards a different world. One of the expensive oils, we don't know, this year or next year, it might become a trend now. But
Right.
signals did come.
Right. So now final round. And so now we discuss on price outlook. Thanveer, what's your price view for next 3 to 6 months? Global edible oil market price.
I think price outlook as far as we are concerned is either palm oil or coconut oil. And I think there should be some correction on the palm oil market.
Palm oil market.
I think it has caught too much steam, and it is about time that
How much correction you expect?
well, if I know that, then I'm not going to be sitting here. Right? It's a golden question you're asking.
How much? But 10%, 15%?
Maybe about 10% is what I
10%.
feel.
Okay.
And obviously that is what we think, and I think soybean oil now again is higher than palm oil. For a small period of time, soybean was cheaper. So I think this equitable proposition.
And coconut oil price?
Coconut oil price, I think, is also at all-time high. I think.
Spending 2,000 US dollars.
Yeah, today I think 2,060 US dollars per ton. I think coconut oil is already very scarce, and Sri Lanka becoming an importer again in the last 1 year of about 8,000, 10,000 tons. Although in the global context, you might say it's a small volume.
Is there any
is an
fall
impact of
expected in
that, huh?
coconut oil? Is there any fall expected in coconut oil?
Sorry, is there any?
Do you think coconut oil prices will go down or not?
I think again, coconut oil also has gone up from
10%.
$1,400
How
to
much?
2,000.
How much? 10%?
Maybe another 10-15%
10,
correction
15%.
is.
So local media can quote Thanveer, the coconut oil price is likely to fall by 10 to 15%, right?
I'm talking about international prices.
International coconut oil price. Okay, fine. Bhavna, your take on price?
Yeah, I agree with him, but I'm not going too far off. I'm just talking about JFM. There should be some kind of parity, some sense prevailing with palm. And I also see, like, because Ramadan coming up and festive season, so demand will also start kicking in. I mean, right now no one is touching palm. People are too wary. Stock levels are also too low. So I see some changes coming up very soon, JFM. I mean, last few days also we saw some kind of little rally in soya. So we are little hopeful right now. For JFM, I can't go in for further 3 months. You know, let's take 3 months at a time now.
Okay, Sandeep ji, your view on price?
See, on price, it's very difficult to give an outlook nowadays because volatility is huge. In a day, you see 25, 30, $40 fall, and in that, say, if I say today X to X value, it might become real tomorrow because volatility is too high.
Right.
Yes, palm has dropped sharply. Palm is now trading close to now 3 months forward in futures market at 4,300. Every lower price of palm looks like to be a bottom price. It drops further, but demand comes. Forward, it drops and demand comes. Because most of the countries globally are uncovered in terms of palm, and Ramadan demand coming, so that needs oil. So if it drops, there is a demand.
So you think no further fall expected in palm oil, right?
Everybody is waiting it to fall a bit further so they can buy $25, $30 cheaper.
What you will do, sir?
I am a seller. I am there
So
to
you
sell.
will sell at current price or you will wait?
I never disappoint my customers. They want to buy now, I am ready to sell.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And if anybody has any question, you can ask on oil.
Any questions in the audience?
No. Thank you.
Thank you very much once again, Mrituenjay. A fantastic panel. And may I please request you once again to give mementos to your panelists. First off, to Sandeep Bhan from SD Guthrie International Trading, Malaysia. I'm not going to say anything right now, but the next one goes to NK Proteins, the lady from NK Proteins and Vice President of IVPA India, Bhavna Shah. Somehow I felt a lot more people applauded. Is that correct? Come on, guys. Give everyone a big round of applause. And finally, from Pyramid Wilmar, Sri Lanka, Thanveer Siddique. May I please request, that's it, you guys are getting it. May I please request Dr. Mahmood Kader to please step up on stage. You know, Dr. Mahmood told us earlier that today he didn't go for his regular walk, so now we decided to get him come up at every session. Thank you, Iqbal. Ladies and gentlemen, with the panel, please, a good photograph. Thank you. Well, gentlemen, ladies, this is time